transition to my regular class because none of them want to work hard at all. I'm lucky if they even show up for school. And I pulled a beautiful rug out from under one of them today. We were discussing the future of America and how they have to be positive. And then I had one kid say something about immigration. And I said, that's interesting because, of course, I have multiple immigrants in class. And I've gained enough of their trust that we can have these discussions. They know that I don't look at them any different because they're an immigrant. And so I started discussing this idea of immigration. I said, it's weird. 100 years ago, guys, my ancestors, Irish people, when they got off the boat and crossed the sea border, there were people that lived here already that threw stuff at them and called them the Black Irish or the N-word and said that they're going to destroy the United States with their terrible version of English and backward ways, drunk and fighting all the time. And I asked them, would you guys say that I'm not an American today? And they're like, no, we would say you're an American. I'm like, so what does this tell you about time? Do you guys want to be on the right side or the wrong side in the future? And we talked a little bit about Syria yesterday. I'm not going to talk about Syria today. Things are looking up, so I hope it's looking good for Syria. But if they, I'd push it further. I turned and I said to because we were talking about the lesson in class was the old empires of the 1800s. Austria, Hungary, the Ottoman Empire. This is all right prior to World War I, guys. So I was talking about all the problems they said they were having at this time. Problems with nationalism, representation, imperialism, which, has somewhat gone out, except for, of course, this interesting place called Crimea, which is a purely imperialist venture, for sure. And I said to them, look, these problems are not new. People want to be recognized. People want a safe place to live. And anytime people move around, you have what we call culture shock, and you don't understand each other. And I want you to think of a French person and the fact that they now have a very large Muslim population in their country that once to them looked all French. And that sometimes they can't handle it. They can't handle the transition. They can't handle the fact that a neighborhood near them doesn't look like them. And you're allowed to be concerned by this. I don't want you to freak out, but let's go back to, nobody wanted Jews. We talked about that yesterday. They were being persecuted. It'd be a weird turn of the tables, and of course I hope this never happens because of my spot. But what if the United States started to fail and all of a sudden Mexico offered a future to us, or Canada? God, Canada would definitely be in trouble because they actually look like what some of these people claim America should look like. This homogenous, somewhat Caucasian society, and in this case, in the future, it would be Caucasian and black because we are the American, republic today. We're already somewhat diverse, but add a new group in. Oh my gosh, Muslims. Oh my gosh, they're so different. When they do that language of theirs and whatever, which is what we sound like to them, by the way. We sound like blah, blah, blahers as well. Don't think you're so special. And all of a sudden, you say, and you become xenophobic, and you use excuses like jobs. And yes, maybe there are some things that we'll be fixing, and maybe this is where Trump comes in for us. Jobs and things like that. And then, before you know it, the quote that Hitler made about common people becomes right, which is, quote, 80% of people of a population are stupid. 15%, when they read the news, they automatically believe it. And then 5% of a country actually check the sources, read the news, and make intelligent decisions about it. And by the way, please know that Hitler, one of his first goals was to get rid of that 5%. Ingenious. That guy was terribly smart when it came to politics and the news. Now, I don't want to say that my country is primarily stupid, because I bet you even someone like myself would fall into the 20%. Definitely not the 5%. I am not fully educated on everything, and you guys will probably catch on to that. I accept the things I don't know. I accept that there are things that I can learn more, and of course I think the one thing that does make me approach that 5% or that 20% is that I want to know more, and maybe feel that I'm not able to get it. Ooh, that was close, y'all. Oof. That was almost like two cars attempting to be a pair of scissors. That would have been interesting. But thankfully, neither of them was texting. So I do want to talk about Trump again here, and I'm sure that'll be somewhat of a recurring thing. This isn't a political show per se. It's more of an angry show with politics involved. And driving. But I was turned on to a conversation by a very liberal feminist friend of mine, an ex-girlfriend actually, who I'm very still good friends with and trust. And I did verify it, so it is true. Not that I don't trust her. But it was a conversation published by Robert Reich, or Reich, if you don't know German, Reich. And Robert Reich said he recently had a conversation with a Republican friend of his who used to be in Congress, And he said, do the Republicans really want Trump as president? And by the way, I'm going to misquote this off and on, but the main idea is there. And he said, no, an average Republican would not, or in Congress rather, the Republicans in Congress do not want Trump. What they will do is they will use him to pass all of those conservative things they want. You know, and I had a whole list and I forgot them. Things like, anti-abortion laws, things like deregulation, which you're going to hear a lot. Deregulation is going to come up a lot, folks. Taking away all the rules of business. That book's going to get thin. And it, by the way, the ethics book with it might as well. That's the way it works. And he said that they're going to use him to get rid of all that, and then they're going to blame it on him. And they're going to say, this is what Trump did to you in America. Trump has ruined the country after they got what they wanted. Which, of course, will not make them look like the bad guys to the constituents of the United States. And then the guy asked him, so what's next? What do they do? And the guy's like, kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, what do you think? And he said, are they going to impeach him? And he said, now you got it. Because guess who becomes president? Mike Pence. Mike Pence is one of them. Mike Pence is the Republican regime. And when he's president, they've gotten all that stuff out of the way, and they probably have 5 or 6 years, and Pence will get the Republican votes the next way through. Trump may not. This is some interesting aspects, guys, to what may transpire.